Welcome to our Wellness Chats. We meet here once a week with our experts to talk about things that matter to our communities. I'm Andrea Narayan, your host and founder of the Expert Connect. And joining me today are two of our experts, Tahira Jamani and Andrea Zemrau. Today, we're going to be talking about lots of things around meditation and Reiki. But before that, I just wanted to introduce both of our experts today. Tahira is a mindfulness facilitator, passionate about helping others heal from inside out, and she's the founder of Chain Reaction. Andrea is the founder of AZ Whole Health, a certified Reiki practitioner who is passionate about helping others claim their whole health. Ladies, welcome to our chat this morning, and how are we doing?
Great. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah, thank you, Andrew. Really appreciate the ability to have a conversation.
Absolutely. No, thank you so much. The pleasure is mine. And we have lots of great questions for you. So we'll jump right into it. And maybe we'll start with Tahira. Tahira, can you share your story with us and tell us how you got into what you're doing right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I was 24, I was living in Toronto, what I thought was a good life. I had a good job. All the pieces of my life were as they should be, as we're told. And I hit burnout. So what that looked like was I was coming home from work every single day with crippling stomach pain. And I'd come home from work, just kind of lie in bed, didn't really know what was going on, be in pain, get up, go do it all over again the next day. So, that was a really big wake-up call for me to dig a little bit deeper and see what was going on, because I had been to lots of doctors, did lots of tests, wasn't really getting any answers. So what happened was I went to see a naturopath, and she told me that it was stress that was affecting my body. So I definitely was in denial about that for a while, because I'd never heard of or had stress show up in my body that way, in such a physically depleting way. So I ended up quitting my job, moving back to Calgary, because that's where my family is, and just slowly putting back the parts of my life together, just piece by piece, looking after my health. So getting better sleep, eating a little bit better, getting back into working out, because managing stress is something that's a little bit deeper than what is sort of conventionally out there, right? And something different works for everybody. So it's a bit more of an exploration to see what really works. Mm-hmm. So I was doing that for a little while, and then I, was back to work. Everything was kind of fine, and I started to question what I really wanted to do with my life. So I was kind of facing this internal clarity dilemma, and was not getting very good sleep for a while. And I'd heard a lot about meditation, but I had never been successful at meditating. I tried the Headspace app and the Calm app and all these different platforms, but I would just sit there and, just wait, like, okay, are these 10 minutes over now? Can I just go on with the rest of my day? So I couldn't really quiet my mind. It was just always racing, and, left me in a space where I felt really confused, lost, out of control, and just didn't really know where I was going. So my naturopath had suggested a 10-day silent meditation course called Vipassana Meditation. Mm-hmm. So after a little bit of resistance, because signing up for something for 10 days of silence is a little bit intense, just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
I called her one day and I said, yeah, okay. So I signed up. I'm waitlisted for this course. I didn't know anybody else who had done this course, just my naturopath. So it was very foreign to me and kind of scary. But I went, and, every day they teach you a little bit of a different step on how to do this meditation style. So I really appreciated the structure and the framework, created a lot of trust around it. And just by virtue of going through that process, I was able to successfully learn how to meditate and quiet my mind and sort of have those moments of internal calmness that I had never experienced. And from that space came a lot of answers. And something cool that also happened was, I at this course, you share rooms with people, or you can have a single room. There's a couple of different variations. So I had a roommate, this girl from Edmonton. We chatted for a couple minutes before the silence started, and then the silence went on for the 10 days. And after the 10 days, she went back her way to Edmonton. I came back to Calgary, and she ended up moving to Calgary, and we've been really, really close friends ever since, because we were able to build a really cool bond through this 10 days of silence. We really got to kind of know each other's habits and sort of just ways of being. And it was a very powerful, another powerful outcome of silence, right? Of really creating connection as well throughout silence. So fast forward a little bit after that, I really felt that this course changed my life. Like, it had such a huge impact on my health, my relationships, basically everything in my life changed after learning this style of meditation. So I felt really compelled to share these tools with other people in a less intense way than, go meditate in silence for 10 days.
Right. Yeah.
No reading, no writing, no journaling. There's nothing, no eye contact, like there's no interaction there. And then I came across this course called the Search Inside Yourself course. And it's the mindfulness and leadership course that was developed at Google. So it's really based in neuroscience because, it's wired for engineers, and it's very based in scientific studies and findings, and it really grounds a lot of these practices. So when I came across this course, I just had this inner knowing of like, this is what I need to do. This is what I think is going to work for people. And, it's been spread across Google and SAP and so many other large corporations, as well as small ones too, and has had such an impact. So I went on to do this teacher training. I'm now a certified teacher of the course, and that's where I'm at. So it's kind of, my journey's been really inspired by my own personal journey of learning to manage stress and anxiety, because I really felt like it was just calling the shots in my life. And I wanted to be able to just have more control over my health and my world. So that's, why I'm here today, because I also find that a lot of other people have had a similar journey and struggle with a lot of the same things, but we haven't really been taught the tools on how to self-manage, right? And how to navigate challenging times. So that's where I am here today. And fun fact about that story I shared earlier is that roommate that I had was actually Andrea, who is on our call today. So
that is awesome. I was going to take a wild guess and I'm gonna text you and be like, "Is it Andrea?"
You guessed right. You guessed right.
Yeah, it is Andrea.
Right. Oh, wow. That is amazing. And I think that is such a great segue into Andrea, you sharing your story with us.
Yeah. So my story spans a bit of time. I mean, as a little kid, I was pretty sick. I had asthma and allergies, had my tonsils removed when I was 5, got fibromyalgia, I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia when I was 8. Acid reflux or GERD when I was in junior high. So I was on a ton of prescriptions for the pneumonia and the bronchitis and the asthma and the acid reflux. And I was told by these doctors who, I mean, they only are able to teach or to help how they've been taught. But they told me I would be on these prescriptions for the rest of my life. That was it for me. There was no hope. I mean, which is hard to hear as a kid, and it didn't really sink in until maybe when I got to be a bit older, maybe high school. And I didn't really want that life, I didn't want to be on drugs for the rest of my days. I didn't want to be sick and unwell and that to be my story. So I felt like there was more for me. And so that kind of launched a journey for myself. And it started out with food. I ended up really changing my diet. I don't eat gluten, I'm vegan, and those things made huge differences. And it kind of spurred me on. So it was like being able to see firsthand the results of my actions. So it was like, oh, I actually can, if I make choices that actually serve my body, then I get to see, like, reap the rewards of that. So I was able to reduce some of my medication, which again, I was told I would never be able to do. And yeah, I felt a lot better. But I mean, I was still I still felt like I wasn't there yet. You know, I still had some health problems. I hadn't quite figured out the reason why I still had those fibromyalgia symptoms. So I was good, but I wasn't great, or I wasn't best. So I kept looking. So I ended up doing a few different things. I ended up getting my natural movement facilitator training through MoveNat. So that I did that. I did health coaching through the Institute of Integrative Nutrition. So I got my health coaching certification as well. So that kind of covered off that physical piece really well. So I had the nutrition side of things, I had the exercise sort of side of things. In that health coaching, they look a lot at different types of, they call it primary food. So basically looking at everything that you're consuming, be that relationships or your workplace or your physical fitness. So it was really cool for me to kind of gain those skills because I could apply those to myself. So through that and through the MoveNat natural movement facilitation, I was able to kind of, again, make a leap in health. But I still felt, yeah, like it was something missing. I felt like I was managing the symptoms of the fibromyalgia, but I hadn't quite figured out how to kind of totally eliminate, like I had with the asthma and the allergies and the acid reflux. So I kept trying. I definitely am open to trying new things, and I love trying different modalities. So I went to a few different things, but I ended up going to a Reiki practitioner back when I was in Edmonton, and it was kind of wild. A friend of mine, she'd said that she was going to be taking her level 1 training, and I had never heard of Reiki. I didn't really know what it was about. But while she was telling me this, I said, yeah, I'm going to do that too. And I'm like, wait, what? I don't even know what Reiki is. And I feel like maybe I shouldn't, maybe I shouldn't sign up for the course before I should figure out what that is. So anyways, I ended up booking an appointment with the instructor, and it was amazing. You know, I mean, basically you go and you have a conversation with her, and she kind of takes a little bit of your health history, and then we're actually in the session where I'm on her massage table, and there's no physical manipulation. There's no, yeah, it's not like chiropractic or massage therapy. There's nothing like that. But yet it felt like I had been worked on by a bunch of different really physical modalities. I felt like I had been kind of, yeah, massage therapy and chiropractic and all these different things in one go. And yeah, it was amazing. And like after the session was over, she was talking to me about women's rights. Somehow I don't know how we got onto that conversation, but how it took so long for women to get the right to vote. And I felt this kind of ping like in my heart. And it went, all of a sudden I felt this pain that kind of radiated down my arms and legs, which I had always associated with fibromyalgia, this kind of muscular pain throughout my body, especially my extremities and back and torso. So I felt this pain, and she says to me, "You felt that, hey?" And I said, "Yeah." And she's like, "You need to release it. You know, you're storing, you feel it, but instead of releasing it, you're holding on and storing it. And that's what's causing you pain." So she taught me how to ground and how to kind of release that energy through my body. And it was like, oh my goodness, like this thing that I thought was purely physical, this fibromyalgia pain. I was like, wow, what if it's not? You know, it definitely opened my eyes, and it kind of started me on that journey to become a Reiki practitioner myself,
Mhm.
because I thought, wow, like if this is something that we all are experiencing, but we don't know how to deal with it. I mean, again, tools, like Tahira was saying, tools we aren't being taught.
Mhm.
It's not something that you commonly learn in your family or at school. It's like, yeah, I want to gain those tools, of course. I want to be able to take care of my own health. And then also, now that I'm at a higher level, I'm able to take care of other people's health, and which is great. I can give them the tools now so that they can reclaim their whole health as well. So yeah, that's a little bit about my story.
Wow,
Yeah.
such a powerful story. Yeah. And
Yeah.
you talked about Reiki, and you talked about health coaching, Andrea. Tell us, what does your Reiki practice entail, and what is health coaching, and also how do they work together?
hmm Yeah. So for Reiki, I like to explain it as it's kind of a subtle energetic balancing. So typically, like when we're out in the world or we're at work, there's all these different forces that are kind of acting on us. I mean, stress and overwhelm. And now we're really tied to our phones and our laptops and everything. All those things interact with our energetic system and kind of throw us off balance. And when we're in that stress state, we're not able to relax, and we're not able to allow our bodies to heal. I believe that we're naturally designed to kind of self-heal and to like operate at our, best efficiency. But sometimes those outside forces like stress get in the way of that. So Reiki allows for that relaxation, for that stress reduction, so that eventually you can have that pain and that anxiety and those other factors that are causing ill health. Those can be reduced and removed. For myself, when I have clients come for sessions, I typically hear, a lot of stress reduction, a lot of pain management, anxiety reduction, which allows them to heal physically, but also allows them a greater capacity for just creating an emotional balance or an emotional capacity to deal with our world, mental capacity to deal with the work and family and everything else we need to get done. And it also allows them to kind of meet health goals. So when you have a greater capacity, then you're able to meet those goals, like making food changes or, picking up fitness or physical activity, going to bed earlier. The reduction of stress definitely helps those things. And I think it ties well into that health coaching piece, because health coaching is basically I'm helping someone make lifestyle or dietary or physical fitness changes, helping them, implement programs or additions or changes to their current regimes. And so by giving them capacity in that Reiki practice to be able to maybe make some changes or to feel like they're not so overwhelmed by stress, then they're able to deal with maybe adding in a couple more pieces without feeling overwhelmed. And so, the Reiki session, I can have someone come for a session and I'll help them get to a state where they can make those changes. And then following the Reiki session, I can give recommendations. We can talk about lifestyle or dietary changes that they might want to make. And then I can support them through that program as well. So I think it ties really well together, because it's the things that come up in Reiki. I typically look at information as to like what needs to be changed or areas that are highlighted that maybe they want to work on. And then following the Reiki session, I can bring in those health coaching tools to give recommendations or strategies or lifestyle tips that are fun and easy and that they can make pretty easily into their common life without causing any stress or additional hardship. So I think they go really well together.
Yeah, no, and I really like it because it sounds like it's a very holistic approach, and you're not just healing somebody and just saying, "Oh, you're stressed," and then saying, "Okay, see you later." You're trying to really aid them and help them by providing ways in which they can truly lower their stress and sort of keep their health at optimal. So thank you so much for sharing that. And we'll shift gears to Tahira a little bit here. Tahira, I feel like this is the era of mindfulness and emotional intelligence. So tell us a little bit more about what is mindfulness and emotional intelligence, and why are they so important? And also, I'm asking you lots of questions, and how has it become so mainstream, I guess?
Yeah, absolutely. All really good questions. We live in this world that's what we call a VUCA world. So it's volatile, it's uncertain, it's complex, and it's ambiguous. And like Andrea mentioned, we have to navigate all this stress and anxiety and all these different challenges that are inevitable and come our way by virtue of this world. Like she said, we're always connected on our phones. We're always wired in. We're overwired. And, we put our brains and bodies into overdrive. And not only do we put ourselves into overdrive, we then don't even take the time to replenish. And so something that's also so sweet about Andrea and I's friendship is that, we're on the same mission in life, right? To help others really navigate and give them the tools to help support themselves, to empower themselves. So I really love that about her and a lot of the work that we both do. It's kind of same mission, different tools. I overlap, and I go and see her for Reiki sessions and natural health and everything in that wonderful brain of hers. She's so helpful. So I love that these pieces can really go together and support each other. So kind of turning to your specific question around, what is mindfulness and why is it sort of blown up? There's been so much research over the last decade, 15, 20 years around mindfulness, because I mean, these tools have been around for years, right? They're kind of ancient tools, but it's been brought into the modern world now to make it more accessible, to make it more relevant, because mindfulness simply is really about being aware. That's all it really is, because when we are aware, we naturally bring our awareness into the present moment of what you're doing, right? The task that is at hand, of exactly what it is you're engaged in. And when we do that, the sweet thing that happens is that you're not focused on the past. So we're not dwelling in the past, and we're not anxious or worried about the future. And that's where a lot of our tensions come from, because we're sort of pulled in this zone back and forth all the time, overthinking the 3 pieces of cake that you might have had at lunch for your coworker's birthday, right? Or your own birthday. Or, planning for the next day. How often are we like meal prepping, planning meetings, all these things in the future that where we are rarely, we almost don't know how to be in this present moment, that then releases us of these shackles from the past and the future. If you think about, a time when you're sitting on the beach, you're enjoying the sun, maybe you have a pina colada on hand, you have no worries in that moment. There's nowhere to go, nothing to do. It's just this really calm moment of being. You're literally just there. That's all it is. They say we're human beings. We're not human doings, right? And we're always trying to do more. So how can we incorporate some of these moments of this blissful, beach moment into the rest of our days, so we can just catch a breath of fresh air and just like chill out for a second? It's really hard. So that's really what mindfulness is about, is bringing your awareness into the present moment. And then what happens from that present moment is that we increase our self-awareness. So, we become aware of our internal states, like our emotions that are coming up, our impulses that are coming up. We're then able from that space to connect better with other people. As we become more self-aware, we become more aware of others as well. And that's what emotional intelligence is becoming aware of your own internal states and other people's states, and then using that information to guide your actions. So that's how we can cultivate compassion and lead with compassion and empathy, and come from a space of love, is what I say, more of like, a holistic, warm space, versus being reactive and being critical and being really compelled by emotions, versus making the choice of how we want to show up next. So that's why it's really important, and how it lends into emotional intelligence, and why these emotional intelligence tools really help us, because the more we're aware of ourselves, the more we can say, okay, I'm experiencing a lot of frustration right now. I'm gonna, not pick up this call from my partner, and just take 10 seconds to chill out before I engage in a conversation, because maybe we received an email that was triggering. And how do we take a bit of space, right? A bit of space before we react to other people. So that's kind of, what mindfulness is about, and emotional intelligence. And it's become really common these days, which, I mean, I'm all for it. It's been such a powerful tool for me. So I love the research that's been coming up around it.
No, that is beautiful. And I think I really resonated when you said a present moment. And I was just having a conversation with my son, and I was telling him that present, it's a gift. It's a gift, truly. Past and future. Future, we don't know. Past has gone. It's gone now. But it's called present because it's a gift of time. We have to be present. We have to be aware. So I love that you said that. I also caught that you said that you go for your Reiki sessions to Andrea, and I'd like to now lob this question over to Andrea to say, tell us, what does a session with you look like?
Yeah, so I typically have people come over for the initial consultation, and we go through their health history. We talk about any issues they may be having currently or in the past. I explain what Reiki looks like, what a session with me looks like. which basically I'll have a massage table, like I can kind of paint it for you. There's a massage table out and it's got linens on it, and there's candles and essential oils going, so kind of create a nice atmosphere that's really calm and relaxing. I'll do, again, I guess I'm speaking more to a in-person session. I do distant healing as well, but an in-person session, I'll do a Iridology Assessment if they're up for it, where I look at their irises. There's also tongue and pulse assessments to get kind of an idea of their baseline or what they came into the session with. And then I'll have them get on the table, and basically it can either be hands off, or I can lightly place hands on your head and arms and legs, anywhere that I'm called to kind of help the energy move. And so, yeah, it's just really calming. Usually the initial session, I'd recommend more kind of 30 to 45 minutes at max, especially if you've never seen an energetic practitioner before. And then for additional or later sessions, you can go an hour or 2 hours. I usually help people initially with grounding, so get energy moving from the head all the way down through their feet. And yeah, if we have any issues that come up in the session, I record those so that we can talk about them after. I also use sound healing and vibrational color therapy as well. So in session, I'll be employing a color lamp, whatever color I'm called to use before the session starts. And I'll be using tuning forks as well to help move energy through their different chakras. And yeah, just to help with the grounding process as well. And then, yeah, following the actual Reiki session, we'll come and have a seat and have some tea and discuss what came up through the session and things that I felt maybe would need some extra work, or tips and tricks I can give them to help them on their healing journey from either what came up in the session or what we talked about before the session. And then, yeah, I usually will send a follow-up email after the session as well, kind of reiterating what we discussed. Sometimes, especially for myself, I find I'm very visual, so it's nice to have something in writing, because there's sometimes a lot of information, especially when you're in that kind of relaxed state. And I'll follow up and just make sure they feel okay and everything is good. And if they have any questions that come up, we can discuss it then. I also offer just health coaching if somebody doesn't want to do the Reiki or the sound healing. We can just discuss nutritional therapies or physical fitness options or different lifestyle changes they may want to make. And yeah, with the COVID, I mean, there's some additional strategies with distant healing and other technologies that we can deploy, as I'm not having sessions at my home right now. But yeah, so that's kind of what a session with me looks like. And it's very individualized for the person that's taking the session.
Thank you for sharing that. That felt very relaxing.
Sharing has a way of doing that, I tell you.
Right? It's like, oh, that is so relaxing. Tahira, what services do you offer around your mindfulness training?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's three kind of main routes: corporate workshops, individual one-on-one, and group workshops too, like a group training series. So in terms of the group and individual, I work with individuals to understand where they're at and then help them to find clarity around what their next steps are. So we do that by using mindfulness practices. As I mentioned, when we kind of step into this space of silence and allow the rest of the world to turn off, we're then able to tune in, tune in, I think is the right way to say tune in, internally. And that's where, we have a lot of the answers. We always have our own answers inside. So it's really just about unlocking all of that. And there are different methods to doing that. So, the one-on-one sessions, we really do a deep dive into obviously what's going on with you, and we customize the practices to help you achieve, your next step, because it's usually there's usually this huge this huge seed of ambition that's in there, and you just need to water it a little bit differently, give it a little bit of different food, for it to really unleash, and then for you to, step into what's next for you. So that's kind of what the individual sessions look like. And it's usually over 6 weeks, about 90 minutes a session. And group sessions, we come together as a group between 6 and 8 people, and we work through kind of a course that we are able to cultivate some self-awareness, becoming aware of our emotions and how to actually do that, as well as learning how to manage ourselves, and then building empathy and compassion and connecting with others. And the cool thing I love about groups is that we're able to pull from everybody's story and everybody's resources to really support each other. So it's a really community experience. You have support. And then for the corporate workshops, I either do kind of 1 hour lunch and learn workshops on, introduction to mindfulness and emotional intelligence, cultivating compassion for leadership or empathy. And these are really important because, 67% of employees are disengaged. So how can we start to engage our people and our employees at work? That's from a 2017 survey. So it's relatively relevant. And this is important because when we're not engaged in our work, we're not feeling fulfilled, right? We're not present, we're not productive, we're not effective. And that has an impact on a company's bottom line, right? So that's why it's really important that we can work on some of these skills. And the course that I love to teach at companies is the Search Inside Yourself course. So that's actually a 2-day intensive course. Obviously now I'm offering that virtually, but it was originally, in person. And along with that comes two teachers, so myself as well as another teacher. 2-day deep dive, as well as 28 days of follow-up practices to really ingrain these habits into our minds and into our brains. And then we come back for a capstone webinar to kind of cover off some other details of how to bring this work further into your workplace. And that's the 2-day. And so that's the one that I really love delivering to organizations, because you see such a transformation in teams, in individuals, in leadership. And, I've been able to deliver this at companies like GoDaddy, not-for-profit health companies. And so there's the impact that it can have is really profound. So that's kind of my jam. That's usually my go-to, and where the most value is also seen too. So that's a bit more about my my services.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And this is our final question for this morning. So how has COVID made you change your offering? And also, how can people who are looking to seek your services, how may they find you? And Andrea, you can answer this.
Sure. I guess tying in with the last question, I just wanted to say that I have used Tahira's services as well. So I've been part of her workshops, and even just day to day, like I'll have issues that come up and we have a conversation, and she'll say, hey, maybe you can sit with that for a second or ask questions. So she like manages to bring that mindfulness piece to a lot of what she does, even just in friendships and conversations. It's really like a treat, and I highly recommend her services. For myself, I'm offering distance sessions. Unfortunately, with the COVID and issues around that, I feel like people need help just managing stress and managing all the weird stuff that's going on in this world. So I still wanted to be able to offer sessions, but I wouldn't be able to do it one-on-one. And so, through Zoom or Google Hangouts, depending on what people's preferences are, I offer distance sessions. So what that looks like is I'll typically get you to lay down either on your bed or on the floor or wherever you'd like to lay down. And I will have my massage table out, and it'll be similar. It'll look very similar and feel very similar. You'll just be in your home and covered up with blankets and tucked in nice and warm. And I'll still do the energetic work and the tuning forks and everything like that. It just will be in 2 different places. The cool thing about energy is it's everywhere. It's not limited to that physical space. So it is such a cool practice to have that, to be able to continue to offer service when the world is so changed or so different right now. And I often find with the distance sessions that energy flows even faster. Sometimes I think of it as that your physical body gets out of the way. Instead of being trapped in your mind or being like cognizant of the person's physical body, you're basically just energy because the person's not in front of you anymore. They're in your mind or your mind's eye. So it's been really cool to be able to continue to offer service and see what that looks like. And it's just been really fun to play. So yeah, and you can find me. My website's probably the best place to check me out. It's www.azwholehealth.ca. And I also have Facebook and Instagram. Again, AZ Whole Health. Easy to find me. You can also link it through the website. So yeah, feel free to check me out or send me a message if you want to ask any questions or set up a session. No problem.
Awesome. Tahira, how about you?
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify one piece. I think, Andrea, you said that you're not doing one-on-one sessions, but you are doing one-on-one sessions. You're just not doing in person right now, right?
Just
okay.
Yes, you got it. You got it. Thank you for the clarification.
Yeah, no worries. And I guess I'm also curious, do you do them over the phone or is it just Zoom? Because I know we did a distance session and it was over Zoom.
Yeah, no, that's the other
phone
great
too?
point as well. I've been pretty much just doing Zoom sessions, but if the person doesn't want to have a video, I mean, that it's not required. It's more so they can kind of see where I am. I think it's like a facilitation for their body so they can relax instead of being like, is the person still working? And you kind of tune out. But yeah, I do offer a phone. I mean, you don't even have to be technologically connected. They can complete as long as we set up a time and they are actually laying down and taking it easy while I'm doing the session. That's all that's required basically, which is really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. So during this time, things have been a little bit extra different, I guess. So I've been offering everything virtually. So in the beginning, I was doing lots of kind of Instagram lives and sharing some free resources and doing talks like this within the community, which was really exciting. So as of now, I've put the group and individual sessions on hold, and I'm really focusing on the corporate workshops right now, which I'm also offering virtually. And I have a special rate going as well for individual, for the 1 hour workshops for companies. So happy to chat more, about that. But yeah, everything's basically gone virtual. It's been a different time. It's, required us to kind of pivot and adjust. But I still feel very, really passionate about supporting during this time, especially, which is why I'm sort of taking a bit of a break from the individual and group sessions and just focusing on companies and reaching a bit, more people as we now transition back into this kind of combination of remote and in-person work and kind of navigating, the mess and the challenges that come with that too. And so the best way to find me is on Instagram, at the _chain_reaction_, or also at my website, so www.chainreaction.life. And yeah, happy to chat. Any questions you have, feel free to book a free consultation with me. Would love to know how I can help support.
Awesome. Thank you so much to the both of you for truly showing up here today and sharing such great emotion and insights to help our community get better, especially during this pandemic. And I am truly honored to be connected to the both of you. So thank you once again. And thank you, everybody who has tuned in to watch this, and stay tuned for more episodes. Stay well.